Shut up, fool! If it makes someone feel better, what about their feelings?
I don't give a shit about their feelings. I'm old.
I never wipe my tears away. I'm not ashamed of them. I wear them proudly. Like small, wet, salty badges of emotional truth.
That's me. I'm a very emotional guy. I care deeply about people's feelings. Not. What do I want to talk about first? Welcome if you're new here. Welcome if you came from the other channel. There's many topics that we could talk about. People can call in. Oh, I got to provide the link. You probably have the link memorized by now, right? Most of you. And so I like talking to people I disagree with. That's why I like talking to theists, because I'm an atheist. This is why I like talking to people who lean left, because I lean right. I think that's how we discover what's true and how we make progress. I'm a real progressive. I'm a real progressive because I lean right. So, oh, I love that. I love that because it's just like, no! It's so fun to... And don't view the word trigger as a bad word. It's fun. It gets a dopamine hit from that. True progressives lean right because they're more for open dialogue with those who disagree. A lot of people hated my woke definition, the definition of woke. A lot of people think, well, you never really defined woke. You defined what a woke person is. Well, okay, woke is an adjective. The way I'm defining it, it's an adjective. So it's like saying define the word red. Well, it's the color of... well, no, that's a bad example because you can go to wavelengths and get more scientific about it. But to me, a woke person is a person who behaves in a certain manner. The definition of woke is that behavior in which certain things happen. And I listed a few, like feel sorry for ism, shutting down conversation instead of inviting it, following certain parts of critical race theory, for example. Thanks, Jacob Smith, for the $5. I really appreciate it. I'll go for 5 minutes longer now, like I did in the other channel. And a lot of people think, well, no, Doug, I don't like your definition of woke because woke is just about being sensitive and aware of the historical context in which atrocities and injustices have been done. Well, if that's your definition, then I'm woke too. I mean, I'm on your team. Hey, I'm talking to you, Michael London. Yeah. Oh, if you want to talk to me about this, call in. The link's on the chat there. So yeah, and some people say, Doug, you're just defining woke as people you don't like. Okay, fine. I'll just like with theists, I'll give you whatever you want. Now the question is, do you agree with me? I don't like people who shut down conversation just because you're X, just because you lean right, or just because you're white, or just because you're a man. Do you agree with me? If my definition of woke is just not liking people I disagree with or whatever, do you agree with me that in your dislike? It's a trap question, because I think you do, deep in your belly, most of you. Which gets to the topic of Joe Rogan and Robert Kennedy Jr. Let me finish this up here, Michael. To me, with my definition of woke, it's a woke person who would say, no, Robert Kennedy Jr. should not be given a platform. He should not debate this this PhD guy, even though he's being given $1.5 million to a charity of his choice. I mean, this is just ridiculous. I don't know what fears that some people on the left have to having an open conversation about vaccines. I mean, it's akin to Christian parents saying no teenage son or daughter, don't go out into the world because they might say things that will change and taint your mind, and danger. Anyhow, Michael, welcome.
Hey.
I can show your face, right?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, and you're very loud. It's not your fault because I pumped up.
You're very quiet for some reason. I'm a loud person. I'm sorry.
Hang on. It's not my fault that I'm quiet to you because I'm pretty much 100% and I'm almost redlining. So I don't know. Go to your mixer.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Maybe the fact that I'm doing this on mobile is the issue. Should have done it from the desktop.
Yeah, I always recommend desktop because...
Okay, I can dial back in from desktop.
Yeah, once you do that, I think it'll be better.
Okay,
yeah.
Do that right now.
So yeah, I think Robert... The problem with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is his voice. And I'm sorry, he has a... what do you call it? Some type of sphincter spasmatic type illness in his voice, and I can't listen to it. To me, it's like nails on a chalkboard. So that's the only reason why I would say the debate shouldn't happen, because I can't. It's like smelling soured milk to me listening to his voice. Maybe if he had a translator. I don't know. Okay, he's back. That was fast. Am I louder now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Am I softer now?
Yeah, your voice is even silkier and smoother now.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
You're the guy who had a problem with my definition of woke, right?
Well, it did not seem like you did define woke. You defined what you thought woke people were like. And
yeah, but
but
did you hear what I just said earlier, that it's an adjective?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not a noun.
Yeah. I mean, what you were describing,
it can be a noun, but I defined it as an adjective.
Well, okay, interesting.
Does that help?
So to be woke, like you're woke, it's a description. Yeah, not a woke person. But then you also were talking about, like, well, yeah, I guess a descriptor. When you describe what you think are the expressions of being woke, which is like you like to shut down conversation about things that you're uncomfortable with or things like that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's not a common perception from some people, but to me that sounds like you're authoritarian. And I don't equate being woke with being authoritarian. To be clear, I don't use the word woke because I think it's too...
Okay, but right now what we're talking about now is just a difference in opinion on a good definition. But given my definition, woke is an adjective that describes certain people who shut down conversation, from certain individuals who follow a certain form of critical race theory, who say that certain people should have more voices than others. In fact, if you're white male, you should just shut up about things like abortion or racial injustice. What else did I say? And it's this victimization, feel sorry for, that causes this shutting down. Given my definition, do you agree with me that that's bad?
Yeah.
Thanks for calling in, Michael. I'm kidding.
I don't agree that that's the definition, though.
I know
you're going to clip this out, right?
I love it when the right and left can come together.
I'm not, well, you might consider me on the left, but what I would say is that's not the definition of woke. If that's the definition of woke, to me, that's kind
my
of
definition of woke. How dare you take away my real world life experience?
Well, that's my issue with the term. It means too many things to too many different people, and typically when people use it, they don't define it like you just did. And therefore, when one person says, "Oh my gosh, yeah, the woke mind virus," somebody else says, "Yeah, I hate that," and they may be talking about two different things. I hate critical race theory, or I hate black people, right? Like
you hate black people?
Talking about very different things.
Oh, you don't hate black people, but
I'm saying woke could mean,
I know.
You're for black people, right? You're woke if you're a woman and you preach in a Southern Baptist church, right? That's what it could mean to certain people.
I understand, and that's why it's very important that we have open and clear dialogue where you
Yeah.
ask people, what do you mean
Well,
by this word?
I guess I was just kind of surprised when I saw you using the word woke a lot, because I love your channel because you're very clear about words and what they mean in their application, and that helps ground
Yep.
your conversation with a lot of theists,
Yes.
Christians.
Yes.
But when it comes to woke, it seems like you're not applying that same
No,
standard.
no. Because Michael, you've heard me say with theists, what do you mean by faith? Right? You've heard me
Right.
ask that.
Yeah.
What does being a Christian mean to you?
Yeah.
And so I'll ask those questions.
Yeah. Right.
And so when
You will.
I'm asking people, like very few people have come on my channel and asked me, Doug, what do you mean by woke? So then I just offer it.
Okay. Yeah. You just say, but okay. All right. But again, would you agree that it's sort of not productive to just talk about woke and not define it?
Yeah, and that's why I defined it.
But in the discourse, we probably hear from the same people on the left and the right. In both cases, it's not typically defined.
I know, and that's the problem.
Okay. Oh, okay.
See, we're agreed.
But I don't agree with your definition of woke, because and I don't consider myself woke. I do consider myself progressive, but I am always for the ability to debate ideas. I'm not for shutting down. I'm not authoritarian left. I'm not far left in that sense. I think it's important to be able to debate ideas and have disagreements without demonizing each other for them.
Yes.
Instantly.
So you're not a follower of CRT then?
Well, okay. To me, what CRT means is some postgraduate theory that espouses that. Actually, honestly, what is CRT? Critical race theory.
For the people from Idaho listening, CRT is abbreviation for critical race theory, which has to do with, it can mean many different things. It could be just critical theory instead of critical race theory. But when we're talking about critical race theory, it's a theory of some type of systematic racism caused by oppressors to the oppressed, i.e. the victims. And that it helps explain why consistent injustices, inequities exist today in the United States, even given that we have, so many laws that have been fixed and changed. It helps explain that. And I think I steel man that properly. But again, critical race theory is such a huge topic. There is not one definition, just like there might not be one definition for the word woke.
The first result in Google, and yes, you might say Google is a woke corporation, but it talks about CRT as a cross-disciplinary examination of how laws, social and political movements, and media shape and are shaped by social conceptions of race and ethnicity.
Yeah.
Reading that, I can't disagree with that.
Yeah.
Is that something you disagree with?
Yeah, it's just, no, there's nothing to disagree with there because they're not making any claims. It's just a descriptor of what it's studying. But what I would say is that many proponents, let me take that back. Some proponents who adhere to critical race theory will use things like, okay, if we have this idea of racism, we gotta figure out what's happening. Who is doing the racism to who? And what are the results? And so this is what leads to things like victimhood. This also leads to things like, well, if you want to combat racism, you can't use the tools of the racist. So this is where ideas of science being racist, going to work on time is racist. If you're a white man, no, you've never heard that?
No. Who says going to work on time is racist?
You have never heard that?
No.
There are people in the United States who say that.
That sounds.
Is that shocking to you?
Yeah.
Can someone find a clip for me to play? Because I can't do both talk and think and find
That's
clips.
wild.
But
I mean, people do believe all sorts of crazy things.
Oh yeah,
that's a little.
I would say most followers of critical race theory are crazy people because
I mean, I've heard that standardized testing can be biased against certain.
Yes, there's another example.
Underrepresented groups. I don't have enough information to agree with or disagree with that. I do think we need to have some standards that, people can be graded by. I do think that it's okay to be culturally sensitive and try to include people who may have different advantages and different disadvantages. But I think with everything, these things can go way too far, obviously. And I've heard, and I took the SATs back in the day in the United States in high school, and now I hear that, they're not really a thing in college admissions anymore. And I think if we lose common standards that we can all sort of agree on, we lose the ability to understand what achievement is and hold ourselves to a high standard. So I guess I wouldn't be in favor of saying that SATs are racist necessarily, but I'd like to know more. Maybe I'm missing something.
Well, it sounds like you and I probably agree on a lot of things. Like, you're for achievement, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I'm not for participation trophies for everyone. I don't think that really benefits anybody.
So you would be
pretending like mediocrity is amazing is not something that I want my kids to learn. I have 2 young kids.
So when it comes to things like achievement, do you think that for university admitting, that should be achievement based and not based on your skin color?
I do, but I also believe that meritocracy is a myth.
What do you mean?
At least I haven't seen evidence for it actually existing. I mean, even I went to a public university and there was a lot of standardized test results involved. And yet I am aware that the high school that I ended up graduating from was very lucky to get in there. My dad was a teacher. I started high school at a public, very crappy school in the middle of Indiana, and I finished it at a private, very prestigious school in Los Angeles that a lot of Hollywood people went to because my dad got a job as a music teacher there. And I know that they could see what high school I went to and that I got put to the front of some lists. Whereas if I had finished school at that public school, I would have probably not had the acceptance rate that I had to some of the best schools.
Pin that, because I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
But you said you never heard about arriving on time is racist. Well, I just quickly, and this is not, I don't think they use the word racist here, but Clemson diversity training, expecting people to arrive on time is culturally insensitive, which some people would say that's racist.
That's crazy.
In the United States, it's just the fact that you're supposed to arrive on time for your appointments. According to materials from a diversity training course at Clemson University, it's culturally insensitive to expect people to show up on time because time may be considered fluid in some cultures.
Well, I may use that as an excuse the next time I'm late for a meeting.
But if you are feeling crazy and want to be insane, watch TikTok videos on this topic.
I'm not even on TikTok for that reason.
I know, but there are kids,
a
lot of kids with darker skin saying stuff like this.
Like,
how dare you?
Probably not exclusively.
That's a white man's thing, being on time. It's a white man's thing to work hard. They will say stupid things like this. Yes, it's out there. Now, how prevalent is this? Probably not. I hope it's not prevalent, but
what does their skin tone have to do with it? You think it's
because
predominantly
racism is always for some people, racism is always white to people of color.
Right.
And some of them will say that if you're of color, you can't be racist.
Yeah, I know. I think that's crazy too. I actually think the whole dichotomy of white and everybody else is in and of itself racist. It puts white people in their own category and everybody else sort of lumped together. I mean, is that not sort of the definition of it? I don't know, but
yeah,
or white supremacist even in a way. But at the same time, I do think that, the counter argument to that is, well, white people have been at the top of the pyramid for a long time now at the expense of people who have other skin tones. And so therefore
in the United States, that's true, but not in other countries.
Yeah. I mean, colonialism, right? Europeans are all white.
Yeah. Well, but not China.
White's not a thing, but yeah,
not the Middle East, not Africa.
Right.
Except for the colonial ones.
Yeah, I mean, it's all this stuff is so complex, and I do think that the idea of saying everybody who believes some of these things, which may be, everything can be misused as a tool to get ahead and to sort of manipulate other people. Like, oh, it's racist to say that I should be on time. I shouldn't have to be on time. You should. I shouldn't. Obviously, that's sort of an abuse of a concept.
Right.
And I think that that's always going to exist. But I don't know that that is the definition of woke for me. Well, again, I just don't think we should use the word. I think it's stupid. I think it's extremely.
You know what's another word we shouldn't use?
What?
Gender.
Why is that?
Because exactly for the same reasons. It's like it means so many different things to different people. Some people say there's infinite amount of genders. Some people say there's only 2. Some say there's 10, 14.
Yeah.
Let's just get rid of the word.
And just talk about sex?
Just talk about biological sex. Are we on the same page on that one?
Look, I mean, and by the way, it's now racist, or it's now hate speech to say cis on Twitter, by the way, according to Elon Musk. Did you see that?
I saw that. Well, no. Well, yeah, I think he did say hate speech. So.
That's totally free speech.
But I'm not sure if he was being tongue-in-cheek or not.
Yeah, you never are, right? You can never tell with that guy. That's the problem. But
by the way, I'm going to start Cis Pride Month in July.
I mean, it's Cis Pride Month every month, right? That's the counter argument. It's when is it not Cis Pride Month? When can you not proudly display your opposite sex partner in public and show affection?
Have you ever seen the cis flag?
No.
There's a flag.
Is it just every country flag?
I'll show you. Well, there's actually many cis flags.
But about eliminating gender, I don't actually, as somebody who is a straight person, pretty boring in that regard. I don't know that I'm the right person to say you should or shouldn't use gender, right?
That's the cis flag.
Okay.
No color.
According to who? According to who?
Me.
Oh, okay. Just nothing.
I'm your source.
It's funny.
But you were saying.
So look, I was exposed to people who are very different from me at a very young age, and so I wouldn't say unique, but I think I have an expanded perspective on this. So I went to UCLA, but I studied musical theater.
Ooh.
And there were a lot of very colorful characters in my class.
You're like my son.
Yeah, I work in tech, but somehow I never expected
You seem too normal to be in musical theater.
I'm not normal. I just seem normal.
like my son he's in the high school musical team. He's a senior. And I'm convinced that musical theater is basically a workshop for the mentally ill. I mean, yes, you're right. All performance in a sense can be considered therapy. Yeah.
But I don't know about mentally ill. Everybody has issues. But yes, I mean,
I'll stand by that. I bet you if we actually looked into it, the vast majority of students in musical theater have been diagnosed with a mental illness. Like in the general population, it's about 25%, but I'd say in musical theater, it's over 50%.
If I granted you that, I could also say perhaps it's because these people are maybe a little more in touch with their emotions and they're more aware of their mental predilections than normal
That's
people.
A bad thing. You take those emotions, you bottle them up, and you stick them in that little corner of your heart. And when your heart gets full, you push it even further.
Spoken like a true Canuck.
No, it's great for musical theater, but do we want people on the front lines of our military, to be expressing their feelings? I mean,
do we want musical theater people on the front lines of our military?
No. That's my point.
By and large, probably not.
Yeah. That's why we need each other.
Although, spies, right? You could make the argument that high EQ, emotional quotient, could really help us. America apparently has a human intelligence issue. We have great analytics and data, but other countries like Russia do better with the actual infiltration. Perhaps we should have a musical theater corps that we, train in the CIA and that goes and
be, because who would suspect a spy to talk like this and just love to dance around?
Not everybody in musical theater does, I'm telling you.
I know. Well, you didn't. You're rare.
I didn't. And yeah, I was on the heteronormative side of my class for sure. But my point was, I got exposed at a young age to people who weren't straight, right? And there are a lot of people who aren't straight in musical theater and in the arts. And, understanding from their perspective and gaining empathy for how they live, feel, view themselves, I learned that, these are just people. And a lot of times they're some of the most amazing people you'll ever meet. And
Yeah, I agree.
my point is just that, like, because somebody says some stuff about gender that I don't personally understand in an internal level, doesn't mean that it's meaningful to them. And my perspective has been, what's the problem? If somebody wants me to call them a certain thing or a certain pronoun, I'm happy to accommodate you.
But here's the problem, and I agree with what you just said. But I think for most reasonable people in the United States, the problem is down to 3 issues. Let's see if I can remember them. Issue number 1, trans women in women's sports.
Okay, very fringe problem. Not very common, but talked about constantly.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say it's fringe. Like, sports is still a big thing.
Do you have a personal touch point with that? I don't, and I don't know anybody who does. I feel like it is so exceedingly rare to have a trans woman in women's sports.
I'll give it to you. It's extremely rare. But do you agree with me? There should not be trans women in women's sports.
Okay, here's what I think. I think we should have blended sports.
No, that wasn't my question. Given that we have women's and men's sports.
Yeah.
Here's my question. Do you think trans women should be in women's sports?
I don't know.
And when you answer, don't care about what other people will hear you say or their impression of you. Speak from your soul.
Okay, look.
Lean yes, lean no.
This is it's not a simple yes and no, because I don't know the answer, because I have thoughts about performance enhancing drugs. And I think if you're somebody who even does testosterone replacement therapy, right, you are taking performance enhancing drugs that give you potentially an unfair advantage next to somebody who doesn't.
And there's rules against that.
There are rules against that. Yeah. So, okay, let's say in a perfect world where there's no student athletes taking performance enhancing drugs, do I think that it's fair to cis women to have trans women who...
That's the question.
...did not take puberty blockers and grew up men and became fully muscular to their full potential, who then transitioned to be women?
Question.
Like a Caitlyn Jenner type of situation?
I'm still waiting for an answer.
Maybe not. Maybe not in that scenario. Maybe not.
Maybe not. What kind of answer is that? Take a stand there, Michael. Maybe not. Why not?
But again,
why is it hard for you to just say no? Gosh darn it, no! Trans women should not be in women's sports.
Spectrum, right? Like if The Rock just put on a wig and said I'm a woman, and then competed against like women in wrestling or something, would that be fair? I don't know.
Why is it so hard for you just to say, like, what's the downside of just saying categorically trans women should not be in women's sports? What's wrong with just saying that?
Because I think there are a lot of trans women who are not good athletes and who would not compete favorably against cis women in women's sports. And I think that just to make a blanket statement about that is to
who cares?
Ignore any nuance. Huh?
Who cares about that?
I would say probably the women in the sport, right? I mean, I think
the women or the trans women.
Part of me wants to say, no, don't allow trans women in women's
Listen
sports.
To that part. That's the rational part.
But part of me wants to say yes, because this is how we move things forward,
or backward.
If there where people were becoming trans in order to win in women's sports where they couldn't in men's, well, first of all, that's insane. That's an insane commitment to make. To do that with your life. But I
hey, you know what? Even if we assume that never ever happens, where a guy says, okay, I can't beat the men, so I'm going to become a woman so I can win. Let's assume that never ever happens. Yeah. I am still here saying we should not allow trans women to compete against women.
Why?
Because I think exactly what you said, that there is... men are far, far, far superior to women in athletics.
in aggregate, not every man.
Of course, not every man. And just the fact you have
And
to
I would
say
argue
that shows that
probably
you feel
less
sorry
of
for
the
women.
men
You
who
don't,
want to be women.
Michael, you don't even have to say that to feel sorry for women. Just say, of course, everybody knows this. And the fact that
I'm not denying that.
yeah, okay. So now you mentioned if you can block puberty, then it would make it more fair. Didn't you say that earlier?
I suppose potentially.
In order
yeah.
to do that, you actually have to block puberty before the age of 12 in most cases.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Look,
So, and you're not a
I
fan
have
of that,
heard-
right? So what are we talking
I'm
about
not.
here?
I have 2 boys, and if one of them told me they were trans and they wanted to do puberty blockers, right now my opinion would be, when you're 18, you can make that decision. That would be my opinion. However, I know that there are families who have lived through that and they have different opinions, and I think I want to talk to them because I don't understand. I can't understand.
The reason
Right?
why there's a part of you that says maybe not, or you don't want to commit to it, is because you feel sorry for the trans women. This is that
Well-
wokeism I was telling you about.
Sorry.
Yes.
I don't feel sorry for them.
Yes, you do.
I-
Or why else would you
You know,
say that? Maybe not. Why not just say, no, trans women should be in women's sports? Because you're not for
Because
blocking
at
puberty.
one point, this question was about, like, should sports be segregated? And there were lots of arguments that people would make about, no, of course they should, because it would be an unfair advantage because, blacks are more athletic, or whatever the stereotype
Right.
of the day was, right? And, like, I just feel like a lot of times when you're living in the time period we're in, things seem apparent that maybe aren't. And I want to err on the side of, like, if this can move us more towards an integrated sports world where we have men and women playing sports, or if you're just that good at basketball and you're a woman, have at it.
Well,
Go
you're
to the
saying we
NBA.
should move to an integrated sports world?
I think we could. I think
By
I
women.
think most sports at the highest level will be 90%.
There'd be no
men,
women,
right?
almost no women left in sports if we do that.
At the highest level.
No,
right?
at any level.
At any level.
I'm talking
Wow.
elementary soccer teams. The boys will beat the girls.
Have you ever seen Serena Williams?
Serena Williams
I mean-
is garbage compared to men. I will
I
commit
think she
to
could
that.
compete. I don't think she would be ranked, but I think she could compete. I think the 5-set thing would really get her.
I don't know this
stamina.
for sure, but I would almost be willing to bet money that the best high school male tennis player could beat Serena Williams. Yeah, look at the
Wow, that's
look at the shock
crazy.
on your face. Now you want me to back that up?
I don't think I could ever train hard enough to beat Serena Williams one time.
Well, that's because you're a musical theater geek. But take a.
I'm a pretty athletic individual.
I know. I'm
but
just giving you a hard time.
I watched the matches, and like they're faster than any men I ever saw in high school.
Let me like I had Peter Boghossian on my show the other day, and we were talking about this issue, and I made the comment just how superior men are to women in sports at all levels. Like I would even go pre-puberty. But I agree, it would be very close. It would be much closer there. But he made the comment to me, well, most people are not even aware what you're saying, Doug. And I think maybe you might be one of them. Like, are you aware that high school boys can beat Olympic females in the 100-meter dash?
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's crazy.
That's why I say the best high school tennis player.
I guess I'm just going to take your word on that. Let's assume that's
You want-
true.
you want
I don't
me
have a
to-
reason to think that you're lying. I don't think you're lying, but I would love to see.
I can provide. I might
Sure.
even have it on.
Anytime. I
Okay.
would love to see it, but I'm not
But
saying
do
you're
you
lying. I
doubt that?
believe you.
Is there a part of you that doubts it?
Dubious. That sounds dubious to me.
Okay, does this
That-
sound dubious to you? That the world record holder in the female 100 meter is a woman named Florence Griffith Jr., whatever her name was. It's highly suspected she was on steroids when she got the world record back in the late 70s, early 80s. And
I believe it.
get this, her time, that still is the world record today, would not even qualify to go to the Olympics as a man. The world record that's lasted for decades, that the woman was even on, probably on steroids, would not even qualify to go to the Olympics as a man.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that.
That shows you just how superior men are to women in sports.
Yes, at the highest levels, that is typically
Not even
true.
just at and high school. Are you aware that a high school boys soccer team could beat the Olympic women's team?
I mean, this sort of statement seems a bit superlative. So
That you doubt.
hyperbolic.
Yeah.
Well, when you say like a typical high school boy could beat an Olympic,
No, I didn't say typical. I said the best.
oh, the best.
Because we're
Okay,
comparing
okay,
apples
sure.
to apples, right? Olympic is
yeah.
one of the best
17, 18
athletes.
years old.
Let's take the best athletes out of high school. So
Men, look, testosterone is a war drug, right?
yes, and
Like,
we have it.
It is literally, yeah, we are way, way, way more physically.
This is why men are the protectors. And usually in the olden days, when you didn't use your mind as much to earn money, this is why we were the providers.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
But women do have certain physical advantages that pertain to
Childbirth.
childbearing, higher tolerance for
He
pain,
said it first, not me.
lower center of gravity,
Wide hips.
in some cases better endurance, stronger legs relative to their upper body. You know, there's stuff.
No. Some people say there might be one category women are better than men in sports, and that's ultra marathon running. But even then, I don't
I
think.
could see that.
Well, that's because
You
you
don't
feel
think so?
sorry for women.
I don't feel sorry for women.
Yes, you
I
do.
feel sorry for trans people in the United States. I do.
Who do you feel more sorry for, women or men?
I don't feel more sorry for either one. Wait a minute.
Okay, I will say women.
Women.
Yeah,
Women. I'll admit it. Women.
I'll
Yeah.
admit it too. Women, because they're weaker than us. They need us.
They live longer.
Physically.
They live longer. Do you feel sorry for that?
Oh no, I feel more sorry for men for that. But
Yeah, I want to live forever. I don't want to die. What's up with all these
okay,
women
let's
living
get.
longer?
This is so much fun. See, you notice the fun I have in my face on this channel, and the sadness I have in my face on the Theist channel.
Oh man, I want to talk more about this with you sometime. This has been fun.
Well, we're
Thank you.
talking more about it now. You don't have to go,
Oh,
do you?
okay. I thought you were gonna go.
No. I'm not. You're not going anywhere. I am happy to hear that you're against hormone therapy for teenagers.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay. In fact, that reminds me. I said there's three. I'm getting a little hum from you. Maybe turn down my volume a bit.
Oh, that was my garage. Sorry. It was
Okay. Your wife just got home.
She did. She took my son for a haircut.
Yeah. Now you got to be more careful what you say.
You have cameras on me here?
So I said there's three main issues that reasonable people in the United States with the trans issue, and that's sports, which we already talked about, and it seems like we're pretty much agreed now, right? Like the trans women shouldn't be in women's sports because of this incredible natural advantage men have that's just so superior and supreme. Are we agreed? Can we move on?
No, we're not. I think there's nuance. I think there's more nuance there. I don't think I can make a blanket statement. I think in certain circumstances, yes.
Okay. We'll let that one go then. We can agree to disagree. Number two.
Maybe where it completely throws off the equilibrium of the sport.
Number two was, I think we agreed that teenagers shouldn't transition surgically or hormones with drugs. Are we agreed there?
Yeah, that's where I'm at. And again, I will give the caveat that if I were to have a situation like Dwayne Wade with his kid or something, where something changes his mind, and I don't understand what that is, and I'm not in his shoes. It's kind of like I cross that bridge when you come to it. Okay. And it's an exceedingly rare situation.
Okay, I'm going to role play. I'm going to role play as my definition of woke. I'm going to role play as a woke leftist right now. Okay.
Okay.
And but I want you not to role play. I want you to be you.
Okay. I can do that.
Michael, I just heard you say that you're against transitioning for minors, for teenagers. Shouldn't you let the doctors decide these things? Who are you to say this?
Yeah, well, I would say, if it's my child and they're under 18, then I am going to make certain decisions for them until they become an adult and they can make them on their own. But I do care what doctors think and what doctors say and what the research says. So, I mean,
okay,
that matters too. But I will make the decision.
But would you, let's say you have a son that wants to transition. Would you rather have a dead son or an alive daughter?
I would rather have an alive daughter.
Well, there you go. You do realize that by allowing minors to transition, you lower the risk of suicide. You are aware of that, Michael?
I'm aware that there are some statistics that reflect that.
So what's wrong
But-
with you? Why are you against the transitioning of teenagers if you could potentially save a life?
Because it's irreversible, and if you keep your child from going through, speaking of my child, puberty, then they can never decide that they wanted to go through that later in life, and they're too young to make that decision themselves.
Michael, are you aware that probably less than 1% of teenagers who transition regret it? So what you're doing is you're trying to protect the 1% and just cast the 99% into the sea.
I would say, this is the same thing I think when people tell me about neutering your dog is a good thing, right? It's an individual decision. You just got to be responsible with it. Like, all the statistics in the world can tell you one thing, and you have to make an individual choice for yourself and your family.
Okay, Michael.
That's how I feel about it.
Michael, you're a self-avowed left-leaning person, right?
Progressive, yeah, I guess.
And you sound just like me, a right-winger.
Well,
I love this.
I'm an independent. That's what I've always said.
Okay, I'm not role-playing anymore. But how did I do, all the woke leftists?
No, that's exactly right. And you got the statistics front and center in your mind as well.
Number one, we do
great.
not know that is the regret is 1%. In fact, that study is based on studies only in like a handful of people from, I think, in the 70s or 80s. The more current research, which is very limited, is could be as high as 80%, 50 to 80% regret. Now, I'm not even going to say that with a high degree of confidence, because the bottom line is we don't know the level of regret. Number two, yes, we do not know. We don't have longitudinal decade studies on the effects of hormones. And so, but we do know that if certain hormones can lower the density of your bones and raise other issues. So if you transition a child, a teenager, number one, there's a good chance that they're going to regret it, and a good chance that they're going to become infertile and sterile, and a good chance, in fact, not a good chance, it's almost, I think, guaranteed, at least in some cases. And so they might regret it. It's irreversible, and we don't know. And even the hormone replacement therapy, we don't have high confidence in. And this is the icing on the cake. We don't even know that it will lower actual suicides. We don't know this. And when people say it lowers the risk of suicide, what they're really saying is that they, at least in the short run, will feel better, feel less depressed. But we don't know 20 years from now, 10 years from now, are they going to feel the same way? And what if they commit suicide in 10 years because they go back to depression? There's people... So this whole thing is absolutely nuts. And I think if you are a person who supports the transitioning of teenagers who cannot give consent to have sex with a 30-year-old, yet they want a 30-year-old doctor to take certain organs off, I mean,
well,
what's wrong with you?
I will say bottom surgery for a child is like something that just never happens. And you can't just decide to get it. I think it's like such a vanishingly small, I think it should be zero. I don't think you should be able to get bottom surgery before you're out of your parents' care. I just think that is something that is too huge of a decision. But at the same time, like, gender dysphoria is a real thing. And what's interesting about gender dysphoria is it's something that trans people acknowledge exists, and it's something that people on the right and religious people acknowledge exists. It is... I've watched documentaries on different types of dysphoria before. Have you seen some of these? It's really fascinating. Like, people can feel like they need to have, and again, for those who are going to come after me, I'm not equating this necessarily, but I will say another type of dysphoria is people who feel that they should have a certain handicap that they don't.
Yeah.
Have you heard about that?
Yes, I've seen it.
These are things that happen in your brain, and they're real. Like,
but I would not call this necessarily gender dysphoria, because remember I said let's get rid of the word gender. I would call this just a mental illness that's delusional.
So the reason I don't want to say mental illness is like,
because it makes people feel bad.
People who have foot fetishes, people who have certain weird sexual things about themselves that are weird because it's not normal. They're not normative. And some of these things can be harmful. Some of these things can make you feel bad. Some of these things can be overcome with medicine. Some of these things...
Well, wait a minute. You just said gender dysphoria is real.
I do.
Do you
Yes.
think it's a illness?
I think it's a difference, and I think it's a difference that causes a lot of
Careful. This is a trap question.
discomfort.
You know why it's a trap
It's
question?
a difference. Yeah.
It's a
What?
it's a trap question because if you don't say it's an illness, then what the heck are doctors doing with this?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Right?
Yeah.
You have to say this is an illness if you're a left-wing woke person. If you refuse to admit this is an illness, then every surgery is elective. It has nothing to do with the medical science. You have to declare trans people who have dysphoria as some type of ill.
Is having a foot fetish an illness?
No,
That
it's
you can
it's a proclivity.
You can study in the brain why that is. Do you know why that is?
Why people have
It has been studied.
why
There have
people
been
have foot fetishes?
Yeah, yeah.
Why?
So there is a physical difference in the brain of people who have foot fetishes, and there are nerve entanglements that don't exist in people who don't have foot fetishes. That between the sexual part of the brain and the part that has to do with feet. It is a physical
So
difference.
a part
in
of the brain lights up when they see feet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. A sexual part of the brain lights up when they see feet. Now, listen. What about serial killers who get sexual pleasure from killing people? It's literally the same. It's the same type of thing that happens, right? It's a connection between things in the brain, violence.
Okay, but here's the difference. I would say dysphoria
My point is
not a good
we
feeling.
classify one as an illness and another as not, right?
Because
of how harmful it is.
you're right. Because of a foot fetish, I guess it could be harmful, but
For those with foot fetishes, I'm not coming after you. We all have our stuff.
well, they're
right?
mentally
And
ill.
everybody's
Let's be
brain-
honest, Michael. Foot fetish people are mentally ill. No,
I'm not saying they're mentally
I'm
ill. Yeah.
kidding. There's a stigma that if you call people mentally ill, that's a bad thing. But I say no.
Right. Nobody wants to feel less than.
No. But I'm saying if someone has a mental illness, we shouldn't like be scared to admit it and say it. Like someone can't walk. Like they're handicapped.
See, that's exactly what I think, right? So if you have a foot fetish, if you're trans, you have a preference that is not the norm.
Right.
The question is it harmful, right?
Yes.
Is it harmful to others? If you
No, I don't think
if you
so.
believe that it's not harmful to yourself, is it harmful to others? I feel like that's kind of the line that we're crossing
Right.
when we say certain things.
And so with the trans people, really the only argument they have, or the strongest one they have, is the suicide argument.
I mean, I would just say, like, well, if we're talking, look, let's just take away the kid stuff, right? Let's talk about adult trans people.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're alluding to, or are you still talking about like
Well,
in children?
actually, when
I feel like those are different
to
things.
me, I really don't even care about the adults. Like, if they want to
Okay.
do what they want to
Okay.
do, that just don't make me
Okay.
pay for it. That's
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like us to have public health care. That's where my leftiness comes out. But we don't, so you won't be paying for it, right?
yeah.
Unless they're military or something. Anyway, okay, so I think the line here, yeah. Well, with kids and like gender transition surgery for kids, I don't feel like there's enough medical history. We haven't studied lifetimes of people who have done it, and so yeah, it does not seem safe. It's not something I would opt for my child. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
And should doctors be doing it? It depends on what. Yeah, I don't know. To certain things, I defer to experts, right? And I think medical
And are
boards that have
psychologists
decided
experts really?
are what?
Psychologists experts? I mean, come on. They're
Are they
psychologists.
psychologists? Yeah.
See, this
No,
is
yeah.
another problem with this whole issue. There's not a machine that we can hook up to someone and say, ding, 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 you're trans. Ding, 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 ding. No, you're not.
Yeah.
But we can do that with
right.
cancer. We can do that with
Well,
tumors.
we can't do it
diabetes.
Like, ding, 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 you're straight. Ding, ding, ding,
Yes,
ding, you're gay.
good point.
Right?
That's an excellent point. And the only difference is what we were just talking about, the harm. Like, what harm is it to, well, we're atheists, right? You're an atheist?
I'm an atheist.
Yeah. What harm is there if, you're attracted to me sexually? Like, no big
Right.
deal. But now but there is harm when you start talking about irreversible surgical procedures. So
Yes.
that's the difference. But
Potential harm.
But
Yeah,
the third
potential
issue
for
that I think most reasonable people in the United States why they even care about the trans issue is the bathroom issue.
Right.
That's the
Right.
third one. So where do you stand on that?
Uh-huh. So I have to be honest. I have not seen any examples of a trans woman going into a women's bathroom and some horrible outcome happening. Have you seen that? I just don't see
Personally
evidence
seen
for
it?
why
No, I don't leave the
give a
house.
shit.
But
Like-
I'm in Arizona, and there was
Yeah.
on the news about, I don't know, a few months ago in Scottsdale, I think,
Mm-hmm.
a really manly looking guy who
Mhm.
claimed to be trans, claimed to
Okay.
be a woman, walked into some type of gymnasium, like a LA Fitness or whatever, and
Mhm.
basically sat down in the women's locker room and stared at a woman's breasts. And she felt very uncomfortable, left, and wanted him kicked out. And I'm not exactly sure what ended up happening. But now I'm a father,
It's-
you're a father. Like, imagine that was your daughter with this guy with stubble,
Yeah.
claiming
Yeah.
to be a woman, staring at your daughter's breasts.
I wouldn't like it.
I wouldn't like it
I
either.
would be very upset. Yeah. It sounds like the problem we're talking about is one of sincerity, right? Like, what if somebody who is a bad actor, bad faith actor, uses this as an opportunity to be a pedophile, right? Or whatever. They abuse the
Yeah.
allowances that
That's
we give
too
for-
easy, Michael. Like, everybody is against that, the bad actors. But I'm saying,
Right.
let's even look at the genuine, sincere cases of
Okay, yeah.
genuine, sincere dysmorphia. Someone really, truly believes they're a woman, and I would still say it's bad.
Dysphoria? I don't know. Yeah.
Sorry,
Is it
dysphoria.
dysmorphia or dysphoria?
I always speak quickly and then. But I would say even in that case, it's bad. So in other words, I would look at the trans person and say, I don't care that
You
you're a
think
woman.
that-
Get out. That you think you're a woman. Get out.
So if somebody were to walk into a women's bathroom and they had some stubble on their face and they just went right to go number 2 and they didn't look at somebody's breasts, they just wanted to use the bathroom and they were wearing women's clothing or something.
Yeah. But they got stubble?
You would have a problem. Okay, yeah, they have stubble.
And they
Sure.
6'1"?
Sure.
Yeah, I'd have a problem with it. If you're going to play the part of a
But
woman,
they're sincere.
yeah, I don't care if they're sincere. I don't care.
They just need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah,
And they think they're
but
a
there's
woman.
still a men's bathroom, right?
Yes.
Yeah, then I'd say.
But what's the I don't understand what the problem is, though. That's the thing that I
Okay,
keep running up
let me
against.
explain it
in
to
that
you.
scenario, what?
Let me explain
Huh?
it to you.
Okay, please.
Your daughter is in there, okay?
Yes, but they're not staring at her boobs.
No,
right?
you're
We've
right. You're right.
established-
They're not staring at the boobs in your hypothetical, but your daughter's in there. She's putting on makeup after the gym.
Okay.
And she sees a guy walk in, go in the stall. Okay? 6'1" with stubble. Wearing
Yeah.
a dress. Okay?
Yeah.
Do you think your daughter's going to speed up her makeup putting on process and get out of there? Or do you think she's just going to, oh well, and take her time?
Well, I don't have a daughter, so I don't know.
Oh,
But-
can you imagine?
I don't know. I mean, is it about
You
my
do
daughter's
know.
comfort? I don't. If it's my daughter, I would say no, because I think my daughter is going to recognize that there's all sorts of crazy people out in the world, and it's okay.
Oh, you call the trans person
I'm
a crazy person.
I'm a crazy person. You're a crazy person.
come on.
Everybody's crazy in some way.
Good save.
And everybody's got their different shapes and proclivities. If they're leaving you alone and they need to take, whatever they need to do, take the kids to the pool, whatever. I don't care. Like the thing I thought
Michael,
you'd be like a rugged individualist. I'm not interested.
Don't
in
feel sorry for the trans person in this case.
I'm interested in my own.
Let's
and
be
those-
real with each other. I
If
think
they're leaving me alone.
the vast majority of the time, if a woman's standing at the mirror putting on makeup, she sees this scenario happen. 6'1", stubbled face guy,
Right.
looks like a man wearing a dress. She's going to put on her makeup. She's going to stop putting on her makeup, and she's going to get out of there. I'd say the majority of women will do that. There might be some exceptions. Would
You're
you
talking
agree with
about
that?
social norms as they exist today
Yes.
in many places.
Yes, that we evolved with.
Yes. And what I'm talking about is changing social norms to be a little more accepting. I just
Why
feel like
should
the
we
world would
accept
be a
that
better
trans
place.
person walking in with stubble
Let's talk about a sort of opposite scenario, right?
and not
Where
accept the woman who
we're
feels
so-
uncomfortable?
we're so heteronormative that I come in wearing a pink shirt and somebody's like, that's not manly, get the hell out, or whatever. Like I think too extreme on either side is, of course, like there have to be social
That's actually
norms,
happened
so-
to me.
Really?
I wore a pink shirt once, and some guys really threatened me.
That is ridiculous.
But here's the
that's
but here's the
thing, it's
difference.
so- yeah.
Here's the difference. I could have defended myself against them.
Okay.
You
You shouldn't have to.
I know, but listen. But remember
Arbitrary.
when we were
That's
talking about
That's completely arbitrary.
remember when we were talking about sports and how superior men are physically. This is the reason why women feel uncomfortable with 6'1", in this specific case, a 6'1" man with stubble coming in the bathroom, and why they would probably, most women will say, I'm out of here.
What about somebody like Brittany Griner? She's gay and she's huge, but she's a woman. If that makes some woman uncomfortable,
Which it does.
I would say that woman can go F themselves. She has a right to use the bathroom. Leave her alone. It's not her fault.
Why do you take the side of the trans woman and not women?
Brittany Griner's a woman.
Oh, hang on. Who are you talking about?
She's a basketball player. She got
that one.
detained in Russia.
Yeah. I
she's
thought you were
super
talking about the
tall.
swimmer. Yeah.
She's huge and she's gay, but she's a woman and she's not trans. She's cis.
Yeah.
Sorry, Elon.
But she doesn't have a penis that can penetrate.
No, but you wouldn't know that either way, right?
Or are
She's
you saying
just
she looks like a
huge.
man?
And so if your argument is they're too big and so they intimidate women and women don't want to be intimidated, sorry, people come in all shapes and sizes. Like, I just don't see that as being
I know, but Michael, I agree with you. She does look like a man. That's what you said.
I
right?
didn't say that.
I think
said
you did
she's
say
huge.
that.
I said she's huge and
Well,
she's
no, I
muscular.
asked, but she doesn't have a penis, and you said women wouldn't know that, which implies
Women
that she
wouldn't
looks like a
know
man.
whether or not she's trans, but I would imagine that some people have seen her and thought, oh, that's a man.
Right.
That's a trans man.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Yeah. But the thing is, if we are pattern seeking mammals, and so when we see even a very big, large woman who could be a threat to other smaller women, the difference is most women realize that if it is indeed a woman, they don't have the testosterone charged sex drive as compared to men. Correct?
Are they thinking about that? Like,
Well, yes, they are.
if you're just going to the bathroom, we're just talking about going to pee or something, right? Is that what we're talking about still?
Well, even if they're not thinking about it,
Are you thinking about does this person want to have sex with me? I don't know.
Are you saying that women are unaware that rape usually occurs from men raping women, not the other way around? Are you saying women are
No.
ignorant of that?
Definitely not saying
Right.
that.
And why does that
Okay,
happen? Because men have the testosterone, they have the sex drive, they have the penis that can penetrate.
Mm-hmm.
And so when a woman sees another large woman, it's not the same as when a woman sees even a smaller man.
Okay.
For that reason.
Okay.
So
Mhm.
I'll go back to my other question. Why do you
And that's why
do you feel sorry for a trans woman over a woman?
I don't.
You don't. Okay, good.
I mean, in some everything's an individual situation, but it's not like oppression Olympics in my head all the time, right? Sounds like you think it is, but it's not.
No, but I would
It's
say
not.
a lot of people won't admit this, but I bet you a lot of people on the left do feel more sorry for the trans woman over a biological woman.
That question though, like I haven't ever ranked these things. Who do I feel more sorry for?
You should.
You know?
You should rank these
Why?
things.
Why should
Because
I?
it gets to your biases.
Okay.
So who do you feel more sorry for? Me or an African American living in the United States?
It depends on the African American and you versus you, right? I mean,
Okay. Who do you feel more sorry for? The average white male or the average black male in the United States of America?
probably. Well, again, I don't like thinking like this. I really don't. But
I
if
know you
put
don't
the
like it because
question-
it's uncomfortable, but
no, it's just not. I don't think it's a helpful framework by which to think
it is.
the patterns.
I'll tell you why it's helpful, because it gets to one's biases that we have to guard against. So most people will answer honestly if they're not insecure. I'm not calling you insecure, but that they feel sorry for the average African black male because
sure
of
in many ways
the historical injustices that's happened.
Sure. I will tell you this. I don't rank people by who I think I'm most sorry for. If I have people in my life
I bet you
that
do.
I know their personal story with, I know that their grandfather was a slave and so they grew up poor in the inner city and their dad's in jail for a crime he didn't commit. And then you, and I don't know your story.
You just
maybe
ranked people earlier on, about half an hour ago. Remember I asked you about women and men who you feel more sorry for? You said women. Remember that?
Yeah, I did. I shouldn't have answered that because I don't like to think like that.
So
but
you notice that you answered it for men versus women, but you're more hesitant for black men and white men.
I suppose. Okay, I will answer the question for you. Hypothetically speaking, in aggregate, I would tend to probably feel more sorry for African American people in America than white people.
Yeah, that's normal, I would say.
As a group, as a people group.
You shouldn't feel bad about that. I do too. But the thing is, the reason why I think it's important to actually say this out loud, I feel more sorry
I don't feel bad about it.
Or why were you hesitant then?
I don't like to think about people and compare them that way. Who do I feel bad about?
See, now you're starting to sound like me. And I
Okay.
love it.
Okay.
Because I think because the danger is, like, once you start feeling sorry for it, once you can say it out loud and admit your bias.
First of all, I never feel sorry for anybody. I might feel sorry for them, but I'm sorry. I had to. I'm sorry.
Because the whole point is then your biases are out in the open. You say, yes, I do feel sorry for African Americans more than white men. So, but now you're aware of it and say, okay, don't let that cloud my judgment on when finding out what's true or not.
Yes.
Right? Okay, that's all.
Yes.
That's the only point I was making there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. And I see what you're saying about women feeling uncomfortable in women's bathrooms if men are wandering in because men do all the raping. Pretty much, by and large. Yeah, and that
the more I look into men, the more I don't care for them.
Yeah, same. You know, most of the violence, most of the raping. It's almost like testosterone is a war drug.
But it can do good things too.
Yeah, like give me muscles, right?
Well, like at night when you hear someone break into your front door,
right.
Your wife's going to look to you to go downstairs and check it out.
I have to say, my marriage is very traditional in that sense, and I didn't seek it out, but it is what it is. It's our mix of personalities that work well.
Who leans more left, you or your wife?
Me.
Me. See, this is why
I think so.
Someday
naturally
you're as you get older, that's closer to my age, because of your wife and because of me, you're gonna lean more.
Closer to your age, I think.
You're gonna lean more and more right as you get older. Especially as your kids get older.
I will say I've become more elitist than I used to be. I have become, but that's because I've been disillusioned with how the world has gone. I used to be very optimistic. I used to think the internet will bring a new age of enlightenment. There will be more true information out there. People will be better educated. People will interact at scale better. Social media will bring people together. We will make better decisions. We will move things forward. It's going to be wonderful. And everything dystopian and horrible has happened. So I get a little more elitist because I tend to think people are dumb. And I didn't used to feel that way. And it makes me sad. But so maybe that's getting more conservative. Is that getting more conservative, more elitist?
No. Actually, I think I agree with you. A lot of people are dumb. But I think the whole negative view of humanity is more, it's on both sides of the political spectrum, but it's more a left-wing thing. This is why people on the left say we need government. Like, you can't expect an African American not to kill and rob. I mean, it's because of his.
It's so horrible.
I know it's horrible, but it's like The only way to change the fatherless homes and the poverty in the African American community is for the government to step in through education and food and housing, and we can't expect them to actually do these things on their own. Like, this is the racism of low expectations.
The nanny state authoritarian leftist view, and I'm not that at all.
Good.
I'm actually much more on certain things. I guess I'm more libertarian, because it's kind of like from a framework perspective, I don't like giving the government more power to make decisions for me, and I don't think that they should for more people, unless it protects the common good in a way that's very important.
Michael, I think.
But right-wing people in the U.S. now, in the post-Trump world, are very authoritarian. We're talking about book banning and like what you can and can't say in the classroom, how you can refer to history.
This is juicy. What books are being banned?
Yeah. Okay, so
and where?
and I had the same conversation with my boss. He's
okay.
so
Let's
funny.
speed it up. The books you're talking about being banned are the books that have topics of
Trans stuff.
and sex stuff. But where are they being banned?
In schools.
Which
school libraries.
schools? What are we talking? High school, junior high, elementary?
Depends on the state. I think in Florida, it's in Florida and Texas, right? It's on the more extreme side. So I think it's any level.
Okay, now let's give an example of elementary school. K through 4 is elementary. You have a son, right?
Yep, he's 17 months old.
So let's say there's a book on I don't know what topic, but anyhow, there's a book in your son's elementary school that has a not a picture, but a drawing of a man giving another man a blowjob. Question: do you want your son in grade 3 to pull that book down, open it up, and see that?
Yeah.
You do?
Ideally not.
Okay. Would you be for removing that book from that elementary school?
Is there any educational value in it? Is it telling you what shouldn't happen to a kid? Or is there any educational value?
Yes. Let's assume there's tremendous educational value, but it has that picture in it. Would you be for?
Then no.
Okay.
No,
so you would not,
because I'm not afraid of my son having information.
Oh.
I am afraid of traumatizing him.
Okay.
But I'm not afraid of him learning things. I'm not afraid. I want him.
What
to
information
know more
do you
things.
think your son could learn at that age that he should be learning? Like that would justify the picture of the blowjob.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not going to justify the picture of a blowjob in this hypothetical. You're just asking, should it be banned? And you're saying it does have educational value. So I'm just taking.
Yeah, but it's on the topic of men sexuality with other men, because that's why the picture's in there. It's a book about homosexuality, gay men.
Okay, it's two gay men. One giving.
It's a
the
book
other
about
blowjob.
homosexuality, specifically gay men. It has tremendous educational value. It talks about all the different sexual positions. It talks about how to protect against diseases. It talks.
I guess we need to define educational value.
Well, you don't think protection against STDs is educational?
Yeah, I mean, this does not sound like it would have any kind of learning.
Michael, what I'm doing here, and I think you understand what's going on here, is you yourself are for banning of books in certain contexts.
Yeah, I know that's where you're going. And I guess what I'm not in favor of is unqualified government administrators banning books. If a school board, which adheres to the wishes of the parents, want to decide, which has always been the case, what books are and aren't appropriate to teach children, which is what I think we're really
school boards are government.
Yeah, they're local government.
Yeah.
They're not state. They're not like the governor.
So are you for local
law.
governments banning books in elementary schools?
It's always been that case. I think the local school board should enact the wishes of the parents who are part of that school.
So if the parents say ban books, you're okay with it?
Okay, but if there's a school that has this book in it, I want the choice to put my kid in a different school. I don't want the government to tell the school what books should and shouldn't be.
You just said
And
local
you know where
governments
I'm
could
going.
say that.
I don't want I want the school board, which is, I guess, a
Local
part
government.
of the government. But it's elected, right? It's
Yeah,
elected.
all governments are
by the
elected in the
team-
United
by the-
States, except for cabinet members.
But where you see that, like, this is why I'm so surprised you're on this side of this, and actually why I kept.
We're on the
poking
same
you.
side. We're both against banning books in some contexts.
These things are theocratic arguments about what should be taught. They are about Christian values and making sure that what's taught in schools.
No,
is
I as an
straight,
atheist
is
can say
good.
I'm against certain
Gay
things
is
being taught to my
bad.
kids.
You know, slavery was not white people's fault, and like it's whatever this sort of like weird evangelical Christian American worldview is that they're trying to dominate through government. It's a big bad thing to have happen, and we're not thinking it through. And I don't think anybody who considers themselves a rational thinker should be on the side of the government writing laws about what books.
Michael, you're
shouldn't
gish
be
galloping.
read.
Are you for or against the banning of a book about gay sex, gay homosexuality, K through 4?
Depends on by who. There we go.
What do you mean by who, though?
Depends on who's doing the banning.
The parents.
How about
We'll
that?
start with the parents.
Parents, yes.
Okay, well,
I think parents should decide what their kids are taught in schools.
okay. So you're for banning the books if the majority of parents say we should ban these books.
In a given school, right?
Right.
I believe that the great thing about the U.S. is plurality, right? You can have one school where the parents want it taught a certain way, and I can say that is ridiculous. And
So,
go to
Michael,
a
you and I are
different
the
school where-
same. So let's say a
Okay.
school board doesn't want to ban a book. It keeps the book there. The parents say no. You and I are the
Yeah.
same. That school board should be replaced.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, you're.
But that is how it's always worked. And what I'm talking
we're
about
agreed.
is something new, something authoritarian.
That is
Texas
authoritarian.
and-
The parents are the authorities.
Right, but I'm saying the you know what I'm saying, right? The Texas state and Florida state governments are now passing laws about what can
Okay.
and can't be taught.
Okay,
What schools are allowed.
let's say the state government does it, and the parents at the local level agree with the state government. You have a problem then?
Yes,
Wait.
do. I don't think the government should be deciding what books to ban.
Even
It's
if the
pretty
parents
simple.
support the government in doing so?
I don't want the state or federal government, or even local government, or even city government, maybe the school government, but anything beyond that is very it's veering towards fascism. I don't like it.
Well, you do understand that parents give up certain responsibilities to the government to do things on their behalf, and then if they don't like it, they don't elect them, and if they do like it, they re-elect them, right?
Are you being naive?
No, this is how
That's
democracy
it's
works.
supposed to work. Yeah, democracy doesn't work in Texas and Florida. It's extremely gerrymandered. There are more
Oh, my
people
goodness.
who are independent and democratic and are for trans rights, gay rights, local government, and against sort of instituting, like reading the 10 Commandments in kindergarten.
Let me
than
steel
the
man you
people-
here. Let me
Okay, go
steel
ahead.
man you here. What you're telling me is you're for book banning if the parents do it.
I'm not for book banning, but
You just said you were. If the parents
Uh,
do it.
I'm for local
In certain
school
cases,
board deciding in certain schools which curriculum to be taught to
the
children.
school board or the parents?
The elected school board enacting the will of the
Okay.
parents, ideally.
Okay, so you're for book banning by elected school board officials if the parents agree.
In a given school,
In a given
I'm not-
school. Yeah.
again-
It's all at the local level of it, it's like
look, my bias is always unless something has to be banned, don't ban it.
well, nothing
right?
has to be
I think
banned.
that-
It's the choice of the parents and the school board, you said.
So if you're saying I'm for book banning if blah blah blah, I think of banning as the last resort and almost the lazy person's resort, right? The better
Sure,
thing would
it's
be
the
to
last resort.
contextualize.
Are you for the banning of certain books in certain schools if the school board, elected school board, does it at the will of the parents?
Yeah.
There you go.
Another clip.
Okay, I am
You got me to
too.
do it.
Now,
You're good at
the only difference between us is that you say if it gets at a higher government level, it seems too fascist to you, and so then it's icky.
It doesn't seem too fascist to me. It is. It's government overreach into what should be local decisions, right? And all of this is predicated on my ability to choose where I put my son in school. If I'm forced to go to a given school, you got to be really careful what you ban, right? Like People's History of the United States of America by Howard Zinn is now banned in certain schools in Florida because they deem it CRT. It's not CRT. It's just another view on colonialism in the United States. And I think it's valuable to have counterpoints. And you should agree with this, to be able to have different views on things expressed to people, and you can read about them and make your own decision, right?
So would you ban a book? Would you be for keeping a book in a high school that says transphobia is of the devil and
I mean, can you read the Bible
in
high school?
Would you be for?
If you can read the Bible, yes.
Okay.
If somebody has a crazy view of transphobia being for the devil, yeah, sure, let them read it.
So
and make
you
their
would
own
be
decision.
all for keeping books in that says trans people are evil. You'd be all for books.
If we keep hateful books like that in, then we have to keep books that say trans is great. We have to keep both in.
Okay.
Right?
No, that's
what I'm
consistent.
for.
Yeah, that's consistent. And I actually agree with you.
That's what I think it should be. It's like, hey, here's a really terrible book that we hate, and I don't think you should read it. But if you read it, here's another one with a different idea.
What about a book that says that vaccines cause autism? Would you be for keeping that book in school?
Sure.
Would you be for PhDs in the field of vaccinations to go on Joe Rogan's show and debate conspiracy theorists?
I would.
Yeah,
I would.
See,
and I know
like
exactly
me.
what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I think, should he have to,
No.
as a doctor, debate some random politician? No. I don't think like he is evil because he's not debating some random political politician who has the last name Kennedy. You know, I don't think that a doctor has to go on Joe Rogan's show and debate in order to be a doctor. But would I support him doing that? Yes. In fact, I wish that he would. I don't know if he's any good at debating, but I don't see any problem with the exchange of ideas. That's my point of view in general.
Yeah, I agree there.
And I'd like Joe Rogan to have more people like that on, to be honest. Not just the people who are like, oh, it's causing people to be trans and it's got
Why do you
Wi-Fi.
think, like you lean left? Maybe you can help me understand them better.
I'm not a very good representation of the left, though.
I know, because you agree with me on too much. Why do you think some people on the left are so nervous about this happening on Joe Rogan's podcast?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a problem. I feel like it's a mix of intellectual laziness and fear, maybe justified based on how things have turned out with the internet, that bad information travels faster than good information. And, you know, if people hear these bad arguments, they're going to believe them because they have the veneer of truth to them, and they're simple. They appeal to simple-minded people. Oh, of course vaccines are causing trans. There's more trans people. And vaccine, you know, they just tried to get us all vaccinated. So, you know, it's like people don't think logically. Maybe that's why people on the left
I don't think they say
of,
that, though.
I don't know. I'm just imagining.
Yeah. No, he's saying that vaccines just
hypothetically.
cause autism, although there's a high correlation, I think, between autism and trans, right?
I don't know. Is there?
Yeah, I think so. Someone can fact check me on
Okay. That's interesting. That's it. I don't know anything about what happens in your brain, in the brain of an autistic person. I don't think my kids are autistic. One of them's only 8 weeks old, so we'll see. But he makes eye contact. I don't know if that matters. But
you should stay in touch with me as your child grows, because I think over the next decade, you're going to lean more and more right.
Let's see.
You're leaning more right just from the last half hour of our conversation.
I don't know. You like to give yourself that kind of credit. I would say you're leaning more left just from the last half hour.
Sure.
It's your show. It's your show, so you can have it.
Because the thing is, I think you are a fairly reasonable guy. I think there's a little bit of that High School Musical in you that still wants to feel sorry for people. But other than that, you're okay.
I have empathy, if that's what you mean.
Empathy is different than feel sorry for.
It can cause you to feel sorry.
Yeah.
for people.
Like empathy is more imagining how someone might feel,
Yeah, right.
imagining and putting yourself in their shoes.
Well, aren't you more likely to feel sorry for somebody if you can put yourself in their shoes and understand?
No, not
their
necessarily.
sorrow? Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, not necessarily. You can imagine something and still not feel it, emote it.
Yeah, that's fair.
This is the huge difference between men and women, actually. And I'm going to know by the smirk on your face if I'm resonating with you. But oftentimes when husbands and wives get in arguments, it's because not that you don't understand your wife, what she's saying. It's because you're not feeling what she's feeling.
I will say, in my marriage, I am the more emotionally available person. Now, my wife is originally from another country. I won't name it today, but in this country,
she's Asian, isn't she? I'm good, all right?
You're good. You know, talking about your feelings isn't encouraged. I can't read what's on your screen. It's too blurry.
Hang on.
But you know, so that may have to do with upbringing more so than natural EQ, but I think it's probably natural.
I'll just read it.
Someone in the comment is dunking on me or something.
No. I asked someone to fact check me on the autistic thing. Transgender and non-binary people are up to 6 times more likely to have autism.
Okay, maybe there's a connection.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a connection. Maybe whatever happens in the brain with gender dysphoria is connected to what happens in the brain with autism. I don't know.
So if it's true that vaccines cause autism, and I'm not saying it is true, then one could say vaccines cause transgenderism.
I think it's an insane thing to just throw out there that vaccines cause autism.
I said if.
Huh?
Do we know?
Yeah, you did say that.
Do we know what causes?
Asking questions.
Do we know what causes autism?
No, I mean it could be something like cancer.
Okay, but listen.
We actually do know what causes cancer.
I know, but listen to what you just said. I asked the question: do we know what causes autism? And I think you gave the correct answer. The answer is no. We do not know. But yet we know vaccines don't. How can we know what does and doesn't cause?
Do vaccines cause left-handedness? Dun dun dun. So this is a chart of the history of left-handedness. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, I'm left-handed. Were there just many more people who became left-handed because of some cultural agenda to make people left-handed, or something else, or because it leveled off here?
Why did it go down in the 1900s? Like it? Did you notice that?
Yeah. It was not allowed. Like in Japan, I think for a while, you literally were not allowed to be left-handed. If you were left-handed, you got corrected.
Yeah.
Right? Even if you're not that good with your right hand.
Okay.
And the truth is, left-handedness typically comes from a flipping of the hemispheres of your brain, right?
Yeah.
You have things going on in your right brain that a right-hander has going on in their left brain. And you know, I feel that I've learned to problem solve differently than many people because I'm.
Can you bring that
left-handed.
back up, that chart?
Oh yeah, sure.
I was gonna.
And you know, I think something similar could be happening with transgenderism, with autism. Either it's more named, more socially acceptable, or both.
Okay.
I mean, it's a pretty simple answer. Occam's razor, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight something. Oh, hang on. People can't see
But
that.
it could be plausible, right?
Hang on.
You admit that?
Yeah, sure.
It doesn't have to be vaccines or microchips or cultural agendas or very complex conspiracy theories.
Okay.
What's that?
The low point on the graph is about 1905.
Yeah.
And the high point in the graph is about 19.
Are you saying it's vaccines?
No. Listen to me. 1905 is the low point, and then social acceptance. Oh, can you bring that back up?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I was affecting your view. My bad.
Yeah, I'm showing the audience here.
Oh, I thought the audience could see it. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. And then the high point where it plateaus is around 1960.
Well, it's still plateauing. High point is 1960 until now.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It plateaued at around 1960. So that's 55 years.
Right.
Took 55 years to go from 3% to 11%. 55 years to go from 3% to 11%. Okay, you can take it down now.
Okay.
Now, let's look at transgenderism. Why is it flashing?
I don't know. I see myself on both sides. Okay, there we go.
Transgenderism and also non-binary has gone up. This is just a random chart. Females identify. This
I
is
wish it wasn't so blurry for me.
yeah, I can make it clearer. Females identifying as trans. 2009.
Okay.
Now this is not in percent, but we could easily make it percent to 2016. Remember we said 3% to 11% for left-handedness over 55 years. This is 7 years, and actually we got this is old. We got more current data. This is from like 100 to 60. This is 1,600% in 7 years. You see the point I'm getting at?
That's a lot. I do, but I have a counterpoint for you. Have you heard the term ladyboy?
Yes, and I appreciate that term. I'm glad you brought this up because I was giving this thought the other day.
Yeah.
The Asian people in at least Thailand, they don't call them trans. They call them ladyboys, which is a more accurate description.
That wasn't my point, but I see where you're going with that. And I'm trying to find a chart for this, but I don't see it in initial search. Maybe Chat GPT can help me later, but I would love to see, and maybe your chat can help us out. I don't know. Or maybe they're all just sort of on your side and dunking on me. But basically, in Thailand, they have had trans people for many, 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 many decades. It's been a part of the culture. It's considered a third gender in Thailand.
Well, wait
I'm not saying the way we're...
Do the people in Thailand, those ladyboys, call themselves trans? I don't think
No, they
so.
call themselves ladyboys.
Right.
They are
So
trans.
why did you say that they are trans?
They are. They are trans. But
What makes them trans? Do they have dysphoria?
Yes, I would think so.
Well, I honestly don't know the answer to this. If you were to go up to a ladyboy,
Yeah.
would they say they're a woman?
Yes.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, even in Thailand, there's a word for it.
I think they would say they're a ladyboy, not a woman.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So when you say that trans has existed in Asia for a long time, whatever, it depends on how you define trans. But the way it's used here in the United States, that they're a real woman or a trans.
No, I honestly, most trans people I've ever met refer to themselves as a trans woman or a trans man.
Right.
They understand that they were born biologically with a different sex, right? Most people live in reality and they say, okay, I was born a man and I am a trans woman, right? Like the biological sex I was assigned at birth was a man.
I agree with you.
But my point is...
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
They're trans because they are people. A lot of them were born men. I mean, I don't know what the statistical breakdown is, but a lot of them were born in one gender, and it is mostly socially acceptable to become a lady boy, a woman, from being born a man. There aren't as many people in Thailand who become a man from being born a woman. That's not really a thing that's socially acceptable. So I'm not saying they have a perfect system. I'm saying trans people have existed for a long period of time.
And I'm saying that if you were, I don't know this for sure, but I'm saying if we were to go to Thailand and interview 100 ladyboys, they would not say that they're trans.
Yeah, they would identify themselves as a third gender, a ladyboy. In Thai, it's dot.
Yeah, so I don't know the point you're making if they're not trans. If they themselves saying they're not trans.
Yeah, I'm saying, okay, what you're
saying is that there are people born male who like to look like a female and dress up as a female and even get boobs. Yeah, I agree with you. But that doesn't make them a woman or a female.
But I'm providing a counterpoint to your chart, which is the amount of trans people identifying as trans in the United States has gone way up over the past few years. And I'm saying that's not an argument that vaccines did it or it's a new phenomenon. It's just a newly talked about thing in our culture. And maybe it's
Well,
trendy.
yeah,
Maybe there are people over-identifying.
I'm not saying
I don't know.
vaccines did or anything like that. What I'm saying is that for anybody to look at the charts in the last 7-8 years in the United States, a reasonable person who doesn't feel sorry for people and have this automatic bias and feel like a knee-jerk reaction to defend people.
Why can't people feel sorry for other people?
Because
I don't understand
it clouds their judgment. That's why. So in other words, imagine you're dead inside on a robot. You look at a chart like that, and for a person to say that there is we shouldn't at least consider social contagion, I think that they're just being very irrational. So I agree with you that.
Inside, are you a robot?
What's that?
Are you dead inside? Are you a robot?
I'm deader than most, but no, I'm not. I'm unfortunately human, but so that's my main point with when you bring up this comparison of left-handedness. We're talking 3% of the population to 11% of the population, which is an increase of 8% over 5 decades, 6 decades.
Yep.
We have over the last 5 years 1,000% increases.
Yeah.
And for people to say that these could be kids who are seeking attention because they see their other friends getting attention, and that this might not be real, and that they're just confused, real in the sense that they're truly trans.
Right.
For people to not even admit that possibility, I think they're just.
I admit that.
Yeah, thank you. But I think we need to, especially you, because you lean on the left, your friends, you need to tell your friends, look, we have to consider this social contagion aspect.
I feel like it's a straw man. I don't know who.
How can that be a straw man when we look at the data?
I would like you to bring on somebody who fits the description you're talking about. I don't doubt they exist, but I bet they're rare. People who say, no, there are no kids who are just saying they're trans for attention and who are just sort of see that it's the cool thing to do.
I say it's close to 50%.
50% of people on the left?
No. I'm saying that kids.
You're saying trans.
Yeah, and I
kids.
wish, and we don't have the data on this because this is what we were talking about earlier about concepts like regret. But I bet you that if this data came out, it would be so damaging to the trans movement, and so there's a political hesitancy to even actually get the data on this. I think because if it were true that 50% of high school kids who say they're trans, and then by the time they reach freshman year in college, they no longer identify as trans. If that were true, that would be damning to the trans movement.
Okay, the trans movement. What do you mean by the trans movement?
That we need to. What I mean by the trans movement is the movement of people saying that if someone says they're a woman when they were born a biological man, we just accept it. Not everybody says that, but there are, in Canada especially, there's this idea that of self-reporting, that if someone says they're a woman, identifies as a woman, then they are a woman.
Okay. I think that's an extreme point of view. I don't think most people are advocating for that. I think most people are advocating, most trans people are advocating for you to call them by the pronouns they would prefer. I don't think most trans women want you to refer to them as a real woman and believe it, or you're a bigot. I think there are some, but I don't think that's a mainstream point of view. And the problem
I think in Canada and even in some states, I could be wrong here, but definitely in Canada, that is the standard. That if a person just says it, like
I thought you were in the U.S. now.
I am, but I still read Canadian news. So so basically, if a person comes into a psychologist and says, I'm a woman, but they were born male, the psychologist does not have the ability to say, well, let's look into this. Maybe you're not. Maybe you are. No, I think the psychologist board in Canada, and I think there's some place in the United States, some clinics in the United States say, oh, you say this, then let's support you.
I think that everything is a lot polarized right now. And I do think, I agree with you that things are not as rational as they should be with this kind of thing. Things do, and I do believe that there is a process to get quote unquote gender affirming care. I don't think you can just say, hey, I'm a woman, I'd like to chop off my penis. There's a long, like, okay, are you sure? Come back in 2 weeks. How do you feel now? What if you tried this?
Come back in 2 weeks. How about 2 years? Like,
I don't know. Yeah, but like, I do think that this whole fear amongst medical professionals to question for fear of being called out,
yes,
publicly,
or sued,
that's
or
a real
canceled,
problem.
or yeah.
And I think that that is a reaction to what's happening on the right, which is the Matt Walsh effect, right? You know, there is no such thing as trans. A woman is a woman, a man is a man. And if you're not straight, something's wrong with you and you should be straight, that kind of thing. So people feel they will be positioned on one side or the other, and there's no middle, right? And you're either for trans or you're anti-trans. And I think that the internet makes this problem a lot harder. I think my view is there have always been trans people, and there always will be, just like there always will be gay people. There will be people with foot fetishes. There will be people with there will be autistic people. There will always be differences in people's brains that cause them to have different sexual desires, different ways of expressing who they feel they should be or who they feel they are. And I just think if we can lead with empathy, if somebody wants, if Sam wants me to call him Samantha and her, that it's okay to do that. If Samantha wants to pee in the women's bathroom and, you know, Samantha's a sincere person, I don't have a problem with that on principle. I just feel like if we can, I don't know, it's where people say, hey, you have to believe what I believe on the far right and the far left, that there's an issue. It's about coexisting. And I also think it's about acknowledging that these kinds of people, just like you and me, our kinds of people, whatever that is, we have been here and we always will be here. And I think the standard should be, are we hurting someone else or are we a consenting adult? I don't know.
Okay, well, there's a lot you said there that I disagree with. Some I agree with, but I'm gonna give you the last word because I got someone else who wants to end. But do me a favor, rewatch this with your wife, and I want to hear your wife's take next week.
Okay, all right, that sounds good.
Yeah,
that sounds
bring
good.
her on.
What's the last word? That was my last word. I mean,
that's what I meant. I gave you the last word. You've had it.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.
Thanks for coming on, Michael.
All right. Bye.
That was good. I like Michael. We'll see if I like Seuss there. 6 seconds.
Howdy, Doug.
Hey, you are on a huge delay, I think.
I am.
Do you have the YouTube tab closed?
Any better?
Well, your voice is not matching your mouth, but anyhow, what would you like to say or ask or contribute?
Oh, well, I just want to talk about capitalism. You know, I'm a communist, and I think that we need to do away with private property.
Oh, completely different topic. I like it. So you think we should do away with private property? Okay, why do you think that?
Well, think about this, Doug. Most people don't even own their own homes. All right, most people are renting. We have landlords that rent out property to people, just profiting off of doing nothing. Or you have apartments, people just making money off of people's rent money. When well, I believe in personal property. Everybody should have a right to be able to have their own property.
Well, wait a minute. I thought you just came in and said you believe people shouldn't have private property, but now you're saying they should?
We should have personal property. I think it should be illegal to own some other property just to rent it out to somebody else, which is basically money for nothing.
Oh, you're against renting, but you're for owning.
Yes, for personal use only. Same thing with businesses. Like most business owners, they've never stepped foot in the business they own. Like it's some bigwig up at the top just profiting off of the wages of other people.
Is profiting over the wages of other people bad?
I mean, not in and of itself, but I think the way and it happens in America. For an example, I work at a private prison, okay, and you know, CEO at the top, he's benefiting off of us workers that are running the whole prison, and most of the time are running understaffed. The ratio to guards is probably like 400 to 1. It's absolutely insane. Uh, and the company's worth millions, probably billions of dollars.
Okay, let's hang on. Before we talk about prisons, let's talk about the renting. Let's be very focused on the renting thing. Okay, I disagree with you, and here's why. So let's say I have a pool in my backyard, and but 2 years ago I had to drain it. And in order to drain a pool, you need a pump that can go underwater and suck the water and then push it into your sewer system or into the street. But I'm in a homeowners association, so anyhow. Now, the next time I'll need that pump is probably, I don't know, 5 years from now, if I keep my pool clean. Now, isn't it more reasonable and efficient for me to rent that than buy it? If I don't want it sitting in my garage, it's a big thing. It has a long hose, like 40 feet long hose. I don't want it taking up space in my garage. What's wrong with me just renting it instead of buying it?
Well, I wouldn't say no problem with renting out a piece of an equipment, but you're going to be paying someone to use that equipment. I mean, but I'm mostly concerned about people being able to afford housing. Like,
okay, what's the difference between renting a pool pump and renting a house or apartment?
Well, you don't. A pool pump is just a piece of equipment that you may need. I mean, how often do you use a pool pump, Doug?
Very rarely, but I get your point. You use your apartment all the time, right?
Yeah, you need somewhere to live all the time. Like, you can't.
But let's say I can't afford the pool pump. Let's say it costs $1,000 for the hoses and everything, and I can rent it for $75.
I wouldn't see no problem with that, but I feel like renting a pool pump is just not analogous. To
what's wrong with, instead of buying a home for $300,000, renting an apartment for $2,000 a month?
Well, I mean, that's just a game you have to play in capitalism. A lot of people can't.
But is there anything wrong with that? Instead of buying a house just because you can't afford it, just rent.
I mean, nothing in and of itself, but the whole system is set up like that where you have to play along. Like,
so what would be a better system?
If we could all just own the properties that we live in, and even the banks, like if you buy your own home, you really don't own the home. The bank owns the home until you pay off of
right.
However many years.
That's because people can't afford the initial lump sum. But your solution is for everybody just to own their own home. Okay, how would you do that?
Enforced by the government.
Okay, so let's say I want to own my own home. Let's say I'm 18 years old, or let's say 22 years old, and I get married and I have a wife, and I want to own my own home. And let's say it's in a rural community, so I need to build it. It doesn't already exist.
Yes.
Who's going to build it?
Well, I guess you'd have to pay someone to build it.
Pay someone to build it. Where's the money going to come from to pay someone to build it?
See, I guess I see your point. Yeah, you'd have to borrow the money from the bank to be able to do that. I see your point.
Yeah. So at some point, people are not going to work for nothing, for no reason. Like if I told you, I don't know where you live, but if I told you, I want you to come to my house next week, and I want you to trim all my trees, collect all the garbage. I just want you to do that. You're going to say no to me unless I can pay you for your transportation costs, pay you well to do it. Then you might. Like if I offered you $100,000 right now to trim my trees next week, you would do it. I guarantee you would get on a plane. You would come to my house. We would shake hands. I'd give you a glass of water and $100,000. You would do it. Why? Because I'm giving you money. So
correct.
This is our system right now. People just don't do anything for no reason. They have to either get paid or get some type of barter system. And bartering is so difficult. We use cash. We use money.
Yes. I mean, okay. Sometimes, when you rent to own a car, right?
I don't
pay rent for so long. Well, because you probably got amazing credit score. People like me, my credit score was absolutely just destroyed because my ex-wife made sure that my credit score was just awful. So people like me with no credit score, we're just kind of screwed.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess you got to take responsibility for marrying the wrong woman.
And I am paying that price.
Yeah. Divorce screws the man more than the woman.
And I'm definitely screwed
You have
at
kids?
the moment. Yes, I do.
How often do you get to see them?
Every other weekend.
You notice I assumed you don't have them, right? Because
Yeah, you hear that? Nothing.
yeah. Yeah. What happened? Can I ask?
Well, I've divorced twice now. The
Twice?
first wife, yeah,
Oh no.
yeah, I'm divorced twice.
Divorce once, shame on me. Divorce twice, shame on you. That was the saying go. Oh no.
Yeah, and I used to be a fundamentalist Christian. I know this isn't your
That's okay. We can mix and match.
other channel. But I was a fundamentalist Christian, and she left me for another man.
Oh.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, shit happens. But I ended up finding another wife about 10 months later. I married her, and we went the open marriage route.
Oh. That's risky.
Yeah. Yeah, and I found out the hard way that that's not a good way to do things because she left me for her side piece. After racking up thousands and thousands of dollars on my credit cards, and now I'm in a new relationship. I switched teams. I'm with a man now, but that's where I'm at the moment.
Whoa, aren't you a man of surprise? I would not predict that coming. So, fundamentalist Christian, married once, married a second time, open marriage, and now in another relationship and with a gay. You're gay? Are you gay?
Yeah, I'm gay, and I was.
Or are you
when I
bi?
was well, I guess I'm sort of bi, but I've not been with any women since the second divorce.
Do you think the reason why you're maybe more attracted to men is the reason why you got divorced?
Well, I've always been attracted to men, even when I was 18 years old.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you find me?
At least a 7.
Oh, that's fair. I'll take 7. Hear that, Nathan? Nathan's in here too. He's digital gnosis. He's he plays both sides of the home plate. So maybe I can introduce you to him. But yeah.
I was restrained.
But I'm sorry your credit score is so low. Do you have a good job?
Yes, I'm a registered nurse.
Oh, good for you. That's a good job to have.
Yeah, working as a registered nurse in a prison is absolutely insane. I deal with stabbings, overdoses. The fentanyl is absolutely horrendous. That kills people so fast.
Yeah. You know what? My advice is Google how to raise your credit score, because there's certain tricks you can do. Like if you pay monthly car payments or whatever, pay it 2 times a month instead of once. There's certain things you can do like that to help raise your credit score. And then you're just gonna have to be patient. It might take 10 years, but don't get married again, okay?
Don't plan on it. But yeah, I just recently totaled my car in a wreck. Luckily, it was the other guy's fault. They all got paid off, but I wasn't able to get another loan for a new car, so I'm driving a piece of crap car that I bought on online, just paid cash for.
Yeah.
So I can save money. So that's what I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah, and that's a good idea. If you should don't spend more than 20% of your gross income on a car and pay cash. Don't spend more than 200% of your gross income on a house, and then put down at least 20%. These are little rules of thumb that will help you stay out of trouble. And don't get married again.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah. All the best to you, Soothsayer, with your new relationship. Is your new guy a good guy? Is he like?
No, he's kind of a narcissist, but he has a lot of money.
So you're a gigolo. A sugar
daddy.
daddy.
Don't say that.
A sugar daddy is what you got. Okay, wait. I'm not judging you. Well, I am, but he's a narcissist, but he has money. See, this is why the political channel is way better than the theist channel. But anyhow, well, I don't, be careful, Seuss. There, like, I know he has money and he could maybe help you, but it sounds like you're in another bad relationship.
Well, working on it at the moment.
Find a
My
guy.
life
Find a
is
guy
crazy.
like me. You know, who has money but is a good guy. You know, who will take care of you and not. I mean, yeah, I'm a good guy.
Yeah, I mean, and he's a capitalist through and through, and he definitely uses that to his advantage to make money. So,
Yeah. Well, I don't know what to tell you. You should write a book. Maybe you can make money that way. You got quite the story.
yeah, and I'm a PK also. So,
Oh, what denomination?
Southern Baptist Convention.
Oh. What is your dad? Do you have a good relationship with your dad?
It's rocky, but we still have a relationship. But he does not approve of my current relationship at all.
Oh, he knows?
Oh, he knows. Yeah, I brought him to Christmas with me this last year.
My goodness. Are you an atheist?
Yeah, I've been I started questioning my beliefs after my first wife left me. Like I was fundamentalist through and through, believed every bit of it. And then after my wife left me, I was thinking, man, I've done everything according to God's plan. Like I married her because I got her pregnant in high school. She was the first girl I ever slept with, and I got her pregnant in like a month. Oops. I ended up marrying the girl, and I thought I wanted to do everything by God's plan.
Yeah, see, that happens often. Christian kids, they fool around, they get pregnant, and they think, okay, I have to now marry, and then that's a mistake. And so one mistake causes another mistake, and it's just a mess. This is why you needed a dad like me who said, whatever happens, keep your pants on.
Yeah,
Would have saved you a lot of money.
that's for sure, and I'm still paying for it.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thanks for the story. All the best to you. If just patience, and as soon as you see red flags with your current guy, you know, it's good that he has money because he's probably not going to take yours.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I ain't got nothing to give. Like every paycheck I get goes straight to paying off all my debt. I mean, I don't know how in the world somebody can spend $5,000 in 1 week at a liquor store, because I had the credit card companies call me like, you have all this debt and you have to pay it off. Like, I don't even half the stuff I don't even know about that she's put me through. It's
Your wife
insane.
spent $5,000. Your ex-wife spent $5,000 at a liquor store.
Yeah, with her boyfriend. Well, it was her side piece turned boyfriend.
Oh my. Well, but if you're divorced, don't you have separate credit cards now?
Well, we're still legally married. I'm still trying to get divorced from her.
Oh.
But I got an order of protection against her because her and her boyfriend beat me up, and I showed the pictures of all the bruises and stuff to the judge. So he granted me an order of protection.
So the boyfriend of your ex-wife beat you up. Is there a chance that he might go to the jail that you work at?
No, I would hope not. But I mean, they didn't get any charges. The judge granted me an order of protection against both.
You know the advice I'm tempted to tell you?
Go ahead.
My advice I'm tempted to tell you is just leave the United States and go to Thailand. And never come back. Does Thailand have extradition treaties? Just in case they accuse you of a crime, which you haven't done, it sounds like, but in case they do, like, just like, it seems like you have been you made a mistake. You got a teenager pregnant, but still, it looks like you've been shafted over and over again. No pun intended. Currently,
I mean, more ways than one, Doug.
I'm tempted just to say, just leave the country, just leave it all behind, get a fresh start in a new country.
That actually sounds quite tempting.
You could try and find a nice lady boy if you're bi. That'd be the perfect match for you. What's going on here? The advice I'm giving.
You heard it here first, folks.
Anyhow, thanks for coming on. All the best to you.
Hey,
Bye.
thanks for having me on, Doug.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow. Isn't this way more fun, though, than the Theist channel? You want to talk about the minimal facts? No. I want to talk about Soothsayer's life. Michael, you were a great guest. Soothsayer's a great guest. Man, I feel sorry for Soothsayer. I know he's not perfect and he's made a ton of mistakes, but still, like, I feel sorry. Feel sorry for him for Soothsayer. That's hard to do because I'm pretty much dead inside. Man, beat up by the ex-boy or the boyfriend. $5,000 in credit card debt from his ex-wife at the liquor store. I mean, how do you have hope for humanity when people do these sorts of things? Yeah, I'm getting emotional. Starts with feeling something, ends with gay communism. That's funny. Thanks for making me laugh. I think we should end it there. Let's wrap it up. I'll focus on the live stream chat. So I love this because I know there's people in the chat right now who strongly disagree with me on a lot of things political, but we can still laugh together, empathize with each other, share stories, understand each other. Yeah, maybe I should start a third channel on relationship advice. But Soothsayer, like, this is why I give the advice I give. You can have all the coitus you want, but until you get stable financially, keep your pants on. You would have saved tens of thousands of dollars, a huge amount of emotional trauma. Keep your pants on. You're welcome, Gomeo. Thanks, Jeff. That was short? How long have we been going? 2 hours. I did an hour on the Theist channel, 2 hours here. That's 3 hours. I think that's enough. I like how Doug's conversations with people from all walks of life can become personal, intriguing, and bring us all together laughing online. Yes, that's life. That's what life should be like. My goal with this channel is for people who disagree with me 100% would still like me enough to at least listen to me, and vice versa. That's my goal, because if we hate each other, we're not going to even listen to each other. And if we're not honest with each other, we're not going to progress. Oh, thank you for asking. Did Destiny write back? No, he did not. I'm very disappointed. I emailed him and I tweeted him and I've heard nothing from Destiny. Destiny, don't be a coward. Poof.